Lucas woke up to the sound of his own laughter echoing through a city that wasn't his. One moment, he had been sprawled on his bed in New York, phone in hand, scrolling through a BL web novel, and the next bam was standing on a cobblestone street in the middle of a world that smelled like fiction. "Great," he muttered, blinking at the low sunlight bouncing off impossibly clean windows. "I always wanted to live in someone else's fanfic." Not. It didn't take long for him to realize something was off his pulse. For starters, he felt powerful, like someone had handed him a secret cheat code, the kind that could bend time. And then he saw him, Elias, the Alpha, tall, impossible, with eyes like icy skies and an aura that screamed danger and fate. Lucas knew because, of course, he had read the book. Elias was the character who would forever remain out of reach unless the Omega playing the story cleverly interfered. Lucas's pulse raced, his Omega instincts fluttering, but this time tinged with strategy instead of submission. He took a deep breath. This was absurd, and yet exhilarating. "Okay, Lucas," he whispered almost to himself. "You can do this. You can reverse time, fix everything, get your fated Alpha." The first encounter wasn't graceful. Elias practically tripped over him in the market square, grumbling under his breath. "What are you staring at?" Elias snapped, his voice a deep rumble that made Lucas's chest tighten. "I adjust." "Hi," Lucas managed, blinking furiously. "I think we've met before?" Elias raised a brow. "Do I know you?" "No, but maybe I will." Lucas forced a smile, hiding the thrill that surged whenever Elias looked at him. Each time he reversed time, he nudged reality closer to a timeline where Elias would notice him in a favorable way. The days blurred into a chaotic montage of near misses, accidental brushes of hands, and stolen glances. Lucas kept reversing small moments, ensuring a certain tension lingered, but he couldn't fully control everything. Fate had its stubborn streaks, especially when it came in the form of Elias's pride. "You're weird," Elias said one evening, tossing a crumpled piece of parchment onto Lucas's lap as if it was a minor offense. "Always around. Never leaves. Omega stalking much?" Lucas froze. His cheeks burned. "I'm not well, maybe a little?" He tried to laugh it off. "But it's fate. Okay?" Elias stared at him, unblinking. "Fate, huh? Don't expect me to play along." But Lucas could feel a faint brush of Elias's scent, the way his body leaned closer without permission, the subtle changes in their timelines he kept steering. Each reversal of time added layers to their connection, layers of trust, tension, and something dangerously close to affection. One rainy afternoon, Lucas's plan hit a snag. He had reversed a critical moment in which Elias had confessed his feelings, except, this time, he'd misjudged the ripple effect. Instead of happiness, the timeline erupted in chaos. Friends were angry, Elias was suspicious, and Lucas was heartbroken. "I can't keep doing this," Lucas whispered, drenched and shivering in the alley behind the cafe. He pressed his hands over his face. "I thought I could control everything, but maybe love isn't something you can rewrite." Then, a voice broke through his despair. "Lucas." Elias stood there, soaked as well, but his eyes were softer than Lucas had ever seen. "Stop. Stop trying to change time. Just be here. With me." Lucas froze, heart thundering. Could fate really skip the theatrics and go straight to honesty? He swallowed hard, letting the rain soak him entirely as he reached for Elias. "But what if I mess it up?" "You won't," Elias said, closing the distance between them. "We'll do it together. Real time. No reversals." And then, in a moment that felt both terrifying and liberating, their hands intertwined, fingers threading naturally. Lucas's Omega instincts surged not in panic, but in a warm, grounding rhythm. He didn't need powers here. Not with Elias. Not anymore. The city around them blurred into insignificance, the rain turning golden in the sunset as though the world itself approved of this fragile, burgeoning love. Lucas leaned in, heart hammering against his ribs, and whispered, "I've waited my whole life for this." Elias's lips brushed his, tentative at first, then bold, claiming every second of delayed longing. Lucas melted into it, the power to reverse time finally unnecessary because the present, the messy, beautiful present was enough. They pulled apart slightly, foreheads pressed together, laughing softly in the rain. "I guess we don't need time travel," Elias murmured, eyes sparkling with humor and relief. "Guess not," Lucas replied, smiling through wet strands of hair plastered to his face. "I think I finally understand what it means to fight for love without cheating the universe." Elias chuckled, brushing a thumb along Lucas's jaw. And what a fight it was. But the fight wasn't over yet, not the external one. Anyway, the city had challenges, social hierarchies, and 1,000 obstacles that an Omegaverse society could throw at them. Yet, now, Lucas had something he hadn't had before, the certainty of mutual desire and the thrill of navigating it together. Over the next weeks, their bond strengthened in real time. They shared whispered secrets in sunlit parks, stolen kisses in crowded cafes, and quiet moments of laughter over dinner dishes that didn't matter. Lucas discovered that even without reversing time, he could influence the world with small gestures, patience, understanding, and courage. Elias, for his part, learned to trust, to let down walls he had built from years of being told an alpha's path was solitary. Lucas's presence was grounding, intoxicating, and inevitably transformative. One evening, perched atop the roof of their favorite apartment building, Lucas traced patterns on Elias's hand, watching the sun sink behind the skyscrapers. "Do you ever think about the first time we met?" he asked, voice soft. Elias smiled, his gaze distant yet warm. "All the time. You were ridiculous, and stubborn, and my fate." Lucas laughed quietly. "I was trying to manipulate time to win your heart." Elias raised a brow, playful and teasing. "And now?" Lucas leaned closer, forehead touching his. "Now, I just want to live every second with you." Elias's lips curved into a smile that made Lucas's heart soar. "Then we'll fight our battles together, Omega. No tricks, no resets, just us." Lucas felt warmth spread through him, an affirmation that the messy, unpredictable flow of time was more beautiful than any power he could wield. And for the first time, he understood that love wasn't about controlling destiny, it was about showing up, choosing, and cherishing the person in front of you. The city's neon lights flickered on, painting the night in vibrant hues. Lucas and Elias stayed entwined, laughter and whispered promises echoing into the darkness. No timelines, no powers, just two souls finally finding their rhythm together. As they leaned back, watching the stars above a city that seemed impossibly vast yet intimate, Lucas knew that even without manipulating time, he had arrived exactly where he was meant to be. And Elias, feeling the steady pulse of Lucas's hand in his own, thought the same. It was messy, chaotic, and unpredictable, but it was theirs. The following weeks became a delicate dance between desire, patience, and navigating a society that refused to make their lives simple. Lucas and Elias were no longer strangers fumbling through fate, they were partners in every sense. Yet the Omegaverse rules still loomed like a persistent shadow. College whispers trailed them. Alphas noticed Elias's attachment to an Omega, some with thinly veiled contempt, others with envy. "He's yours?" a senior alpha had asked one afternoon, voice sharp, eyebrows raised. Elias had only nodded, his jaw set, and Lucas had squeezed his hand beneath the table, grounding him, silently whispering, "We're in this together." But the world outside their private moments didn't make it easy. Lucas felt the weight of judgment, subtle but cutting, like a chill in the air. And yet, every time Elias returned that unwavering gaze, every brush of fingers or soft murmur, Lucas remembered why he had fought to bend time itself. Not for control, but for the chance to love freely. One night, walking back from a bookstore dripping with rain and the scent of old pages, Elias paused under a street lamp. His hands were tucked in his pockets, but Lucas could see the tension beneath the calm exterior. "What is it?" Lucas asked gently, brushing damp strands of hair from his forehead. Elias hesitated, then admitted, "Sometimes, I fear what people will think, or worse, how I'll be judged as an alpha choosing an omega." Lucas's heart clenched. "You think I don't worry about the same things? That I don't fear that the world will see us as wrong?" Elias's blue eyes softened, and he stepped closer, wrapping Lucas in an embrace that whispered safety into the cold night. "Then we face it together. No reversals, no cheating fate, just us." Lucas nodded, resting his head against Elias's chest. In that moment, the power he had once wielded felt irrelevant. Time didn't matter. What mattered was Tisan's honest connection that neither society nor circumstance could erase. The next challenge arrived like an uninvited storm. A rival alpha, Victor, notorious for his pride and influence, began interfering, sending Lucas cryptic messages and leaving Elias tense. "He's trying to manipulate you?" Lucas warned, anxiety prickling his instincts. Elias's expression hardened. "I'm not a child, Lucas. I can handle a rival." But Lucas knew better. In this world, emotional warfare was as dangerous as any physical confrontation. Using subtle hints and careful timing, Lucas gently guided Elias to see the patterns Victor created, without ever taking control of their lives. This time, it was a partnership born from trust, not power. One evening, Victor cornered them in the university courtyard, words sharp and venomous. "You think you can claim him, Lucas? He's an alpha. You're just..." Elias stepped forward, voice low but dangerous. "Lucas is mine. Stay out of our way." The confrontation ended with Victor storming off, but the tension lingered. Lucas felt Elias's hand tighten around his, a silent promise of protection and partnership. That night, wrapped in each other's warmth, Lucas realized that love wasn't the absence of fear, it was standing together despite it. As autumn painted the city in amber hues, Lucas and Elias discovered a quiet rhythm in their relationship. Mornings filled with shared coffee and laughter, afternoons with stolen touches between classes, nights with confessions whispered under the dim glow of streetlights. They learned to navigate the Omegaverse social rules with subtle defiance, choosing connection over convention. Then came the unexpected moment that would test their bond, a miscommunication that spiraled into doubt. Lucas had been experimenting, trying to perfect his time-reversing ability to protect Elias from future threats. But in doing so, he inadvertently created a timeline where Elias misread his intentions. "I don't know if I can trust you anymore," Elias admitted one night, voice tight, eyes glistening. "I thought we were equals, but sometimes it feels like you're playing with fate instead of being present." Lucas's heart shattered. "Elias, I never meant to hurt you. I only wanted to keep you safe." Elias shook his head, stepping back. "I don't want safety. I want honesty. I want you here now." Lucas dropped to his knees, the rain beginning to fall around them, soaking both in cold reality. "I'll stop reversing time," he pleaded. "I'll trust us. I'll choose you every moment, without magic, without manipulation. Please, don't leave me." Elias's expression softened, torn between pride and desire. Finally, he closed the distance, pressing his forehead to Lucas's. "Then prove it. Not with powers, but with me." They clung to each other as the storm raged around them. And in that moment, Lucas understood the true meaning of love in the Omegaverse. Courage, trust, and mutual respect. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, trust rebuilt itself like a fragile mosaic. They laughed more freely, touched more boldly, and argued less about control. The city became a canvas for their romance, each alley, cafe, and rooftop a backdrop for their growing intimacy. One crisp evening, Lucas led Elias to a rooftop overlooking the city skyline. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting the world in molten gold. "I wanted to show you something," Lucas said, pulling a small, hand-bound journal from his bag. Elias raised an eyebrow. "What's this?" Lucas opened it to reveal sketches, notes, and a timeline of moments they had shared, both real and imagined. "Every time I tried to reverse time, every choice I made to get closer to you, I wrote it down. Not to manipulate you, but to remember why I fight for us." Elias's eyes shimmered, voice catching. You kept all this? Lucas nodded. Because it's ours. Every moment, every mistake, every laugh, every touch. I don't want to lose it ever again. Elias smiled, brushing fingers along Lucas's cheek. You're unbelievable. You know that? Lucas laughed softly, leaning into the touch. Maybe, but I'm yours. And that's enough. The first kiss under the twilight was gentle, exploratory, yet full of promise. Unlike the stolen kisses of the past, this one was theirs by choice and manipulated, unapologetic and permanent. The winter brought snow, and with it, a sense of serenity. They navigated social prejudices and alpha rivalries together, each day cementing a bond stronger than any timeline could offer. Lucas discovered that his power to reverse time wasn't necessary to protect their love. It was the patience, courage, and honesty he brought to each moment that mattered most. During a quiet evening by the fireplace, Lucas traced Elias's features, memorizing the curve of his jaw, the softness of his lips, the depth in his eyes. I used to think I needed magic to get you, Lucas murmured. But now, I know it was always about showing up, every day. Elias smiled, his head resting against Lucas's chest. And you have, every single day. That's all I ever wanted. The world outside remained chaotic, full of rules, judgments, and challenges. But within the walls of their shared life, they carved out a sanctuary, a space where love wasn't a strategy or a power to wield, but a living, breathing entity nurtured by devotion and mutual care. One spring morning, Lucas awoke to find Elias already awake, staring out the window at the cherry blossoms lining the streets below. Thinking? Lucas asked, still groggy. Elias turned, eyes soft and warm. Planning our next chapter. Without time tricks, without fear. Just us. Lucas smiled, pulling him close. I'm ready. For everything. Elias laughed softly, pressing a lingering kiss to Lucas's temple. Me too, Omega. Me too. Together, they stepped into the bustling city, hands entwined, hearts aligned. The Omegaverse rules remained, society's judgment persisted, but their love was unshakably a testament to perseverance, vulnerability, and the power of choosing each other over and over again. Every glance, every touch, every whispered word became a defiance of fate's cruelty, a triumph of connection over control. And in that shared victory, Lucas and Elias found what countless timelines had failed to offer. Peace, passion, and the simple, profound joy of being together. Years later, as they watched the sunset from the rooftop that had witnessed their first honest conversation, Lucas squeezed Elias's hand. We did it. No reversals, no tricks. Just us. Elias smiled, leaning into him. Yes, just us. And that's more than enough. The city shimmered around them, alive and infinite, but their hearts had found a home. A love that had once teetered on the edge of chaos now thrived in the calm certainty of chosen intimacy. And as the stars emerged one by one, Lucas knew, without a shadow of doubt, that he had finally claimed his fated alphanaut through magic, but through courage, patience, and unwavering devotion. And that, he realized, was the truest form of power in any universe. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.